Baker. Put your hands in the air, give me all your money.
This is the story of my baker, the meanest cat.
Greetings from Castle Goring, from Mickey, Aurora, and from me on this beautiful day celebrating the King's official birthday as opposed to his actual birthday. Well, I hope those of you who saw Trooping the Colour enjoyed it. I have to tell you, I think it's awfully boring. I'm sorry. It's visually beautiful. It's interesting for a little while, but it does go on and on and on and on. And it's not my thing. Really not my thing. But it's a wonderful tradition, and it's really wonderful to see all the troops parading the way they do, and the precision, and it's just so beautifully timed and everything. But from my point of view, Jonesville, sorry. I've been once, I'll never go again. You couldn't pay me enough money to go. Sorry. Oh dear, I hope I haven't shocked anybody or upset anybody, but that's the way I feel. So now, without further ado, I am going to plunge in with what E. de Montfort says. E. de Montfort says, Sparkles has donated to the protesters in Los Angeles. Now we know where some of the Archewell charity funds are going, to support non-citizens. Well, Harry isn't a citizen. No matter what your political preferences are, we can all agree that burning and looting of cars and businesses is very wrong. The Sussexes should stay out of politics. E. de Montfort. It's not even a matter of staying out of politics in this instance. It is a matter of encouraging disorder and being subversive. You know, I live in the castle that should have been inherited by the creator of the concept of civil disobedience, Percy Bysshe Shelley, conceded by Thoreau and Mahatma Gandhi, both of whom were given credit for it. And they said, no, it's Percy Bysshe Shelley who created the concept of civil disobedience. I studied on Walden Pond when I was in college in America. And I was a great admirer of Thoreau, still am. Criminality is not the same thing as constructive objection. And let me just leave it at that, where that part of it is concerned. It is the height of irresponsibility for any member of any royal family to be donating money to subversives. I'm sorry, it is just unacceptable. There has to be a principle whereby the law should be abided by, even if you do not agree with it and you change it from within. Really, it's the height of irresponsibility. But Meghan is not only irresponsible, She is currying favour, left, right, and centre. She is currying favour with the left because she is still hoping that Gavin Newsom and that connection will bear fruit. And there is word in certain political circles in the United States of America that Gavin Newsom could end up being a Democrat presidential candidate. Quite possible, because also Trump actually has a gift for creating a groundswell that is antithetical to his political party's objectives. I think his intervention in Canadian affairs, let's put it like that, he might have been trying to be provocative or whatever, but it certainly helped to defeat the Conservative candidate for Prime Minister and got Mark Carney elected. And he is clamping down on has clamped down on the LA riots, and there have now been legal moves, and Gavin Newsom is quite determined to snatch victory out of what appeared to be the jaws of defeat. So, is Meghan currying favour with the Democrats and with Gavin Newsom? I would have said you don't even need to make a shrewd guess to realise that that is the scenario there. Her political ambitions aren't dead, even if her reputation and her popularity are. And I'll show you how conniving she is, because I was sent a post by somebody very close to her where she ostensibly says that everybody is to, the word begins with F and rhymes with lock off. And it was evidently put up for a very short while and taken down. Now, what's that all about? Because is it a fake, or is it meant to convince us that, well, that Kensington Palace announcement about Archie being born by a surrogate had to be false and had to be a hack, because this is also a hack. There's that element to it. There are other elements to it as well. It keeps her in the news, and we know that's very important. To a fame addict, you've got to have not only your daily fix, but as your addiction increases, you've got to have several fixes a day. So that's one of them. But did she post it? Actually, do pigs fly? Do pigs fly? Sometimes they do. It depends what airline you're boarding. Let's leave it at that. Angie Hass says, I wonder if Meghan will disaster tour downtown LA after the riots. Well, I would be very surprised if Gavin Newsom doesn't give her the opportunity to shine brightly and within the controversy that will definitely ensue from that latest activity, let's put it that way. He will get column inches. She will get column inches. All of the poor blacks who support him will hopefully start to support her, and hope those who support her will start to support him. All of the immigrants, all of the people that he and she both appeal to politically. How naive is it? Well, it's cynical. It's cynical. And cynicism can be naive, but I don't think in this case it is. I think Gavin Newsom and Meghan are both very worldly wise and understand how to milk a situation to their own benefit. Let me put it like that. You know, Meghan and Gavin Newsom are a very good fit for each other, especially now that he's seen her off in terms of the seat, the Senate seat, because both of them are elitists with a socialist overlay. Both of them, they are rampant elitists. Both of them play to the gallery and are really demagogues. And Meghan is the right sort of black for Gavin Newsom. She's pale beige, she's rich, and she's an elitist. You should hear some of the comments that some of the politicians pass when people's backs are turned. Some of the things I have been told would make your hair stand on end. Then, of course, there's the other type, the Meghan and the Gavin Newsom type, who are always online in terms of following the diktats of correctness. But their actions do not accord with the sentiments that they espouse. Goba Girl says, it feels a bit like all this recent blanket media focus on Meghan's unhinged state is grooming the British public for poor duped victim Harry to be permitted to return home. Interesting that you should say that. Some people think that that is one of the objectives. I don't actually think it is, but some people think that it is. Certainly, there are sounds being made by certain journalists at the moment, yet again. Oh, olive branches, reconciliation, welcome home the prodigal. They've obviously never read their Bible, because the prodigal son begged for his father's forgiveness and said, give me a place, the least place in your household. Has Harry done any of that? On the contrary, he has demanded apologies and then said, oh well, I'll waive them. Doria, bring me some weed. I need to calm my nerves now that I'm waiving that apology. But I understand that Harry and Meghan are in a state of, shall we say, turmoil over some of what's happening here in England, because she is evidently unhinged by the fact that David Beckham is getting a knighthood and that Victoria Beckham, whom she accused of selling stories about her to the press, as if Victoria Beckham needs the money. Just unbelievable. She's going to be a lady, and they get asked to the palace, and David Beckham is now in like Flynn with both the King and Queen on the one hand and William and Catherine on the other. One tail left eye. I can't believe it. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Those treacherous bastards. Can you believe it? They've welcomed my enemy into the palace, and there's no place in there for me. Then, to add insult to injury, David Beckham has been given a very prestigious invitation to guest edit Country Life. Now, I receive Country Life every week. I have to tell you, I have endless Country Lives everywhere in this place. Oh, very good magazine. Oh, and very prestigious. Very comme il faut, very correct, very county, very country, very pucker, very prestigious. They've had a series of pretty eminent guest editors. The King, there was the coronation issue that the King did. Princess Anne, she's done. And Meghan was invited to guest edit it when she was in the United Kingdom. She didn't even condescend to reply to the invitation. She didn't understand the significance. Also, if she understood it, she didn't think it was important enough because it's not a fashion magazine. Mr. DeMille, can you believe it? Those bastards wanting me to have a close-up with them, and I'm not wasting my time on them. I mean, they're the aristocracy, and they are the gentry, and they are all the people that I have to despise if I'm going to get H away from England to Hollywood, where I can become a star. Oh, Mr. DeMille, please, I'm ready for my close-up. Poor Megsy baby. Isn't it awful when people who were kind to you and who you unfairly accused in your delusional, self-important, grandiose way of behaving dishonorably without any rhyme or reason and insulted them in the most gross fashion, that they're prospering and you're not? 10 tails left eye and right as well. Polo Pony says, it surely shouldn't have taken a genius to understand the underlying subtext of the Queen's invitation to Harry to visit her and bring his family just before she died. But true to form, he was too obstinate, self-absorbed and stupid to get the message. He really did not deserve her. No, he didn't. And fortunately, he didn't get her, because it would have been a massive strain to have them. And not necessarily for the Queen, because Harry, one hopes, would have behaved reasonably. But we're not really sure about that, because remember, Meghan and Harry turned up with a photographer on the one occasion they showed Lily to the Queen. One occasion. And people who say they never showed her and the child doesn't exist, I'm sorry, the child exists. I don't care whether Meghan hires in children or not for photo ops. The picnic them exists, as the Jamaicans would say. The picnic them exists. Them a draw breath. In other words, the children do exist and they breathe. So I cannot emphasize that strongly enough. And the Queen crushed their desire to have a photograph of the two Lilibets, because she was determined to make sure that they would not be exploiting her and the connection the way they had already done by misnaming the child. However, in fairness to Harry, the Queen died very quickly. Nobody really expected her to die right when she died. Most people thought she would have lasted another few months, really. I think had she made that last Christmas, everybody would have been aware that it was going to be her last Christmas. But I don't think, in fairness to Harry, anybody actually expected her to die quite when she did. This is important. That does not erase Harry's offence in failing to accept the Queen's invitation, because it was obvious that she wanted him to come up with her great-grandchildren and so that she could get to really say goodbye, because she was very family orientated. And even though she was extremely distressed about the way things had gone south with Harry and Meghan's behaviour, and even though by then she did say that Meghan was a wicked, wicked girl, and she had no time whatsoever for Meghan, and really, if push would have come to shove, only a little time for Harry. She wanted to tie up loose ends nicely. But Harry and Meghan were starved of actual accurate information in much the same way that they are being starved of accurate information now, where the King's health is concerned and Catherine's health was concerned. They are regarded as unreliable confidants, let's put it like that. And they are deliberately starved of detail and of information, so that they will not be able to hawk it along with their other wares and betray everybody's confidence as well as confidences. So I hope that explains that. But Meghan didn't want to go. I think, in fairness to Harry, he would have gone had Meghan wanted to go. But my information is that Meghan didn't want to go. She knew she would be uncomfortable. She's always been uncomfortable amongst the correctly behaved people, except when it suited her to pretend that she liked them. Shades of Sophie Trudeau, Jessica Mulroney. Need I continue? all the people that she doesn't really see now because she's moved on. And this is the way she was when she was here as well. She wasn't interested in, shall we say, the old guard. She wanted the hustlers. Water seeks its own level, and water also runs in gutters. Let's leave it at that. Sorry. Mary Anderson says, I remember when we persuaded the Queen to appear on the balcony at the Jubilee when she wore the green outfit. I am a registered nurse. You could see the pain and strain on her face. She did that last appearance for her country. She even had fun with Prince Louis on the balcony. Amazing woman. She was not well, but the king, the present king, who of course in those days was still Prince Charles, he phoned her up and said, Mummy, you've got to come. People are going crazy. They need to see you, and you really need to come. And she came. She didn't plan to come. She was in pretty bad health by then, and she didn't plan to come. And the form of cancer she had, which is a myeloma, is really a cancer of bone marrow cancer, isn't it? I mean, I'm not a medical expert, but I think bone marrow, blood starts in the bone marrow, and if I'm not mistaken. And so let's just call it myeloma or stroke bone cancer, because it's very painful. And she was a brave, brave woman. She was a good woman. She was good. And when she called someone wicked, you knew that she was saying, that person is the opposite of me. Good recognizes evil, and evil recognizes good. I leave it at that. Alan Harpham says, can you help me understand why Thomas Markle is desperate to see his grandchildren when he must know his daughter had a hysterectomy? Okay. I am going to slightly amend that to say, because I need to do this for legal reasons, that Thomas Markle has never confirmed to me or anybody else that Meghan had a hysterectomy. Thomas Markle Jr. is the one who has confirmed that he was informed by Trevor Engelson that Meghan had had a hysterectomy. How did Trevor know? Not only did he pay for the procedure, he was there. So, you can have a hysterectomy and you can harvest your eggs and they can be fertilized if they weren't already fertilized. That's really interesting, because let's remember she was married to Trevor Engelson at the time. Trevor Engelson also is a bit of a ginger. Oh dear, the plot thickens. Thickens. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so I'm not being conspiratorial. I'm simply making a few points to show that sometimes it ain't over till the fat lady sings. There are many dimensions to things that take place that are not necessarily all apparent initially or immediately. So, if Meghan had harvested her eggs, and if she had that egg implanted in a surrogate, if she had lacked a womb, that would still be Thomas Markle's biological grandchild. Also, if the child had been born of and by someone else and had no genetic connection to Meghan, that doesn't mean that it's not Thomas Markle's grandchild in terms of once the baby is legally, she is legally acknowledged as the baby's mother, it then becomes Thomas Markle's grandchild. Now, I know what I'm speaking about because I have two adopted children, and my father was as eager to see them as he had been to see his other grandson, Andrew, who was born by my sister and born of her body. And also my father's nephew, Eddie, he adopted a son, and insofar as the whole of the family was concerned, Bruce was as much a member of our family as anybody else. And my father's eldest brother, who was Bruce's grandfather, was as excited about Bruce's arrival as any of the other grandchildren that he had. So, does that explain why Thomas Markle would want to see his grandchildren? Because no matter how they came about, they are his grandchildren. Legally, at least at the moment. Susan Clark says, Lady C, page 6 has implied there is a new product line coming from Meghan. Any clue what? Yeah, I've been taking some inspiration, and I've got to tell you, I've come up with this really great product line. I'm going to sell used panties and used underwear. Yeah, and anybody has anything else personal that they've used? Well, used toothbrushes? Well, I mean, you've got to be a celebrity, and I'll buy the toothbrush off you for 50 cents, and then I'll sell it. Say, my great friend Gwyneth Paltrow's used toothbrush, $500. My great friend Gwyneth Paltrow's south of the border down Mexico ways love potions and fresheners and things that smell like it. Used, of course, used. $2,500. I'm going to make a killing. I'm so clever. I'm just so clever. It sure beats jam, doesn't it? My understanding is that she's thrashing around, floating ideas, hoping that something will stick, like thrown on a wall. And the fact of the matter is that she is supposedly in negotiations with third-rate clothing manufacturers to come up with a I'm the stylish Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and you can buy this fabulous dress that I have on. It's made with genuine synthetics, and it's made in workhouses in India and China. Don't worry, they get paid really well, 50 cents a day, and you can get it, a real bargain. $2,200 for this dress, made out of genuine synthetics, as I said. Just like me, genuinely synthetic. And definitely not synthetically genuine. I'm just not genuine at all. Sorry, that slipped out. I'm truly genuine all the time. I don't know what I was thinking 2 seconds ago. It's like the time I said I'm such a fraud. I don't know what prompted me to say that when everybody knows that I'm as authentic and sincere and genuine as a $3 bill. Sorry, as a $1 bill. Sorry. Caroline Roberts says, having seen the mugshot photos of Henry, Rachel and the children at Disneyland, it's blatantly obvious who she was trying to imitate. Princess Diana on the log water slide, with William and Henry as children. Pathetic. I can actually, if you want, even do a whole episode on the dynamics of Meghan and Harry's relationship, and how she has zeroed in on a vulnerable dope and duped him, and how she has played him like a violin, and how she has used all of his immaturity and his basically compromised, shall we say, compromised, and trying to be polite, compromised personality traits to have actually waged a campaign the way an enemy wages a campaign and occupies a country and takes it over and sets about milking its wealth for the attacker's benefit. I mean, on that slide, she sets these things up, but then she gets the payoff she wants because people notice the similarity, and Harry notices the similarity, and this reinforces Harry's desire and need for her, because Harry notices it as well. If you and I are noticing it, obviously Harry is going to notice it. And Harry has, ever since he met Meghan, gone around trying to get everyone to agree that Meghan is the evocation, shall we say, of Diana, his mother. He struggles to get people to agree with him. And of course, when things are rocky, that reinforces it, because that kicks in with his unconscious observations of his parents' relationship. So Meghan has him coming and going. If you want, I can get into this far more deeply, because it is a fascinating case study psychologically. And on that note, I will say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of some interest to you. If it has, Please keep the questions and comments coming in so I will know what you would like us to be speaking about. Okay, thank you so much. Take good care. And if you have truly enjoyed this, would you care to like, share, subscribe, press the notification bell, and Godspeed.